Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back. It's that time of week again, everybody's favorite, the power rankings. We are about 4 weeks now away from the end of the season. So these power rankings are starting to show what the playoff race is going to look like. Of course, bottom row is teams that are long out of it, second bottom row pretty much out of it now, etc., etc. Before we jump into, I just want to say we are starting a channel football pool. We have a couple spots left, so if that's something that you are interested in, it's just for fun, fantasy football pool. Make sure you jump onto the Discord, join that community, and you can get a link to the pool there. Otherwise, let's jump into it. Power rankings, everybody's favorite, and sticking in the bottom, number 30. We got the Orioles. They did finally end that big losing streak, but we can't forget it immediately. They did pick up a couple wins against the Angels, but then the Rays smashed them over the weekend. I think number 30 is pretty good. Number 29, we got the same team, the Rangers. They went 1-2 in both series, not picking up a win. Of course, they play pretty good every night. They give a team a chance to win. They're just not picking up wins, and we don't really expect them to go too far. Even next season, probably a big steps have got to be taken. Number 28, we got the Diamondbacks, 1-2 against Pittsburgh, 1-3 against Philly. Same story for all these teams. They're just playing spoiler at this point, trying to figure out what their team's going to look like going into next year, etc., etc. Number 27, we got the Pittsburgh Pirates. They beat Diamondbacks earlier in the week, so you got to give them credit there. They went 2-2 against St. Louis, playing pretty big spoiler. I think of all the teams so far, they look the most promising going forward. Of course, Pittsburgh has a lot of work to show that that's a team you can get behind even going into the future. Number 26, right in that same division, 2-1 against Colorado, 1-2 against the White Sox over the weekend. They had a lot of offense given up over the weekend against the White Sox. That was a pretty interesting series to watch. These two teams are basically bottom of the Central, bottom of the National League. It's going to be interesting how those two teams match up going forward. Number 25, new to the bottom row, we got the LA Angels, 1-2 against Baltimore before splitting a 2-game series over the weekend against Padres. What can we say? The Angels just don't have a whole lot of going for them right now. Trout's been out the majority of the season, of course, so we can't have a lot of problems with that. Ohtani's pretty much the only bright spot all season long. Sorry for the Angels fans, it's been a long season. They had some hope at some point about a month ago, 500 ball, but they've just fallen off a cliff since then. Number 24, we got the Washington Nationals. Another losing week for them, 1-2 against Milwaukee, 1-2 against the Mets. But again, they sold at the trade deadline, not expected to go up too much in the rankings. Pretty much going to be solid bottom of the league at this point. Number 23, same division. Got the Miami Marlins, 2-1 against Washington, 2-1 against the Reds. So they bounced back. They lost the Reds in all 3 games the weekend before, so a little bit there. They had some other prospect like Alcantara have a pretty good week. So I think the future, at least, is going up in the right direction in Miami. I like their future ahead of all these teams that are below them, especially, that's for sure. Number 22, got the Colorado Rockies, 1-2 against the Cubs, so a little bit of a rough series there, but they showed that they have fight all the time. They beat the Dodgers in a series this weekend, so a lot of credit got to go there. 2-1 against them. Interdivision, at home, all that fun stuff, but the Rockies, I think, overall, you can't really count them out. They've been a strong force at home, at least this season. Number 21. Got the Twins, 1-2 against Boston. They won the series over the weekend against the Brewers. They've had a rough year, but on a given night, they're a threat to topple your team, especially if you're fighting for the playoffs. You cannot take the Twins lightly. At the very least, they should have been a playoff team, had injuries and all of the rough start of the season. Didn't get to them so much, but they just dug themselves too much of a hole to get out of this far into the season. Number 20, a new low. We got the New York Mets getting swept by San Fran early in the week. Did manage to beat Washington over the weekend, but I guess the bottom, we bounced off the bottom a little bit for the Mets. So losing the Giants, getting swept, falling pretty much out of the race altogether of the playoffs. I think 20. Realistically, that's a right now picture. I think going forward in the future, you got to have a little more faith once their pitching hopefully gets healthy at some point. But 20, I think, is good for now. Number 19, got the Kansas City Royals, 1-2 against Houston. So they played a little bit of the West, and then they went and beat Seattle 3-1, playing big spoiler against Seattle. I think realistically on paper and all that, those two teams match up pretty well, but record-wise, of course, Seattle's in the playoff hunt, whereas Kansas City might not. So I'm giving a lot of credit to that win because I think that puts them both more in the middling categories, at least if we're looking ahead towards next season. Number 18, holding on to this third row with their lives. We got the Detroit Tigers. They went 1-1 against St. Louis. Lost the series to Toronto over the weekend. Again, played Toronto very close games. All 6 of the games they played against Toronto the past 2 weeks been super close. This middle line are teams that are not quite in the playoff race, but like on the verge of being in it next year, maybe have a shot at it this year. But these are supposed to be teams that are upcoming playoff contenders. And Detroit's just on that fence of possibly being a contender next year to the bottom where they stop being contenders. Number 17, we got the Cleveland Indians, 2-1 against Texas, 1-2 against Boston. A 500 week, been pretty much a 500 season, so right there in the middle of the league. Not too much else to say to that. 16, we got the St. Louis Cardinals, a 500 week against Detroit and Pittsburgh combined is not going to be what the Cardinals need. They need to be making up ground in this playoff race. They're very much in it. They're like 4 games out, but they need to find fire at some point. Otherwise, they're just going to be smack dab mediocre in the middle by the end of the season. Number 15, the Toronto Blue Jays. Going to stick them right there in the middle again. They had a pretty good week, like going 2-2 against Chicago White Sox and winning the series against Tigers. Got to be a little bit happy about that. But with only 4 weeks left, they got to start making up games and making them up quickly. So unless the Jays go on some sort of a winning streak down the stretch here, they're going to pretty much end right dab in the middle of the league at 15. Number 14, we got the Philadelphia Phillies. Phillies have been up and down for the past number of weeks. Some days they're good, some days they're bad, but this past weekend they did all right. 0-2 against Tampa to get things started. They lost right away against Arizona, but then they won 3 straight to at least punch them back into playoff conversations. Again, these teams are all in the conversation. Kind of cuts off here, but these teams are threats next year and going forward. Number 13, we got San Diego Padres, and they have had it rough. 0-3 against the Dodgers, 1-1 against the Angels. It's been a free fall for the Padres and doesn't look like any sign of stopping as of late. Of course, they're in the playoff hunt. Any of these teams are, but right now they're on the outside looking in at number 13. Number 12, we got Seattle Mariners. They did beat Oakland both games early, and they were looking to go into this weekend and pick up some wins in Kansas City, but it just did not work out the way they needed it to. Their run differential still working against them in the playoff race. They're outside looking in, and out of all the teams left, you would think they're one of the weaker ones. So again, unless they go on a heater, they're probably going to fall back a little bit. Otherwise, stay right on the bubble of the playoffs. Of course, top 10 is usually like the playoff area. Number 11, Cincinnati Reds. 1-2 against Milwaukee, 1-2 against Miami. A losing week after taking over the wild card. I don't know what else to say other than that last spot in the National League. No one seems to want to grab it and run away with it. And at this rate, it could be anyone. And I would think whoever grabs that spot isn't in the top 10 at this rate, at the very least. Number 10. They're on the outside looking in right now, but Oakland A's 0-2 against Seattle. And then they played the Yankees, who were on a super hot streak. They ended it yesterday, and they're playing right now, and it looks like they are leading. And if they can hold it, they'll at least split it with the Yankees, which keeps them at least making some ground in this playoff. Again, they're on the outside looking in. American League playoff race is a lot hotter contested than the National League. So a number 10 spot doesn't get you into the playoffs if you're in the American League side. Number 9, we got the Atlanta Braves. Good week for them. They started 0-2 against the Yankees, but they're super hot. I already said it. And they won the series against the Giants 2-1. So big credit to them. They're taking leaps forward in the division. They all but look like they're going to lock that up for sure. Before we jump into the top 8, take this time, smash that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. We're looking to grow the community. Football's around the corner. Hockey's around the corner. Lots of content going to be coming on this channel. So make sure you check it out and subscribe for future content. Number 8, staying the same as last week, got Boston Red Sox 2-1 against Minnesota, 2-1 against Cleveland, if they continue to play this kind of 2-1 baseball, they'll make the playoffs, and that's pretty much what we expected them. Wild card's probably going to be what they're going to be seeing, so that 1-game playoff with Chris Sale on the mound, they're going to be a threat. Got to be looking out for them. Number 7, Houston Astros 2-1 against Kansas, 2-1 against Texas. Again, another 2-1 situation. They keep winning. They'll be able to maintain the lead against Oakland, lock up the division, be solid to go into the playoffs. And once you're in, anything can happen. Number 6, we got the New York Yankees coming fresh off that 13-game win streak. A lot of ground made up there in that first spot in the wild card. In theory, you could catch Tampa, but at this rate, I don't know. And if they're in the wild card and playing Boston, that's going to be anyone's game. Sale versus Garrett Cole, who knows? Number 5, Chicago White Sox 2-2 against Toronto and won the series against the Cubs. It was a barn burner against the Cubs, but got the division on lock. Playoffs first round is going to be unlocked. They're going to have a pretty good matchup in that first round. You would think they're going to play the weaker team, probably looking to be Stros and White Sox right now, which I like how they match up against the Astros, so I put them a little bit ahead. Number 4, same spot as last week, Milwaukee Brewers 2-1 against Cincy, 1-2 against Minnesota. 500 week, but they have the division locked up. They have a pretty secure spot in their playoffs and won 500 week after playing such good baseball. Not holding against them. Still think they're top 4 team. Number 3, continuing to be super hot. 2-0 against Philly. 3-0 over the weekend against the lowly Baltimore Orioles, but they're on top of the American League by far in my books, and they got that on lock. Best team in the American League. What can I say? Number 2, we're going to keep it at the Dodgers, and number 1, the Giants. These two teams have been 1 and 2 for a long time. They just can't seem to decide who's going to fall, who's going to go further ahead, because whenever one team wins, the other one loses. It happened again this week, matching up basically win for win, loss for loss. So I'm going to leave them as it is until one of them shows me that Dodgers maybe fall down, maybe Tampa Bay is about to hop both of them. If they have the same kind of weeks, Tampa has another win streak week and the other 2 have a couple losses in there, we might see Tampa at number 1. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think. Where would you switch things up? What playoff matchups do you kind of see already set in stone, and et cetera, et cetera? Put that in the comments below, and we will see you guys for that next video. Thanks for watching. Peace out.